Nakano Takeko, the samurai who led the last charge. The air tastes like iron, not yet blood, but close. You stand at the edge of a country breaking itself apart. This is Boshin War, a war that doesn't just decide power, it decides what Japan becomes. Old ways, new ways, clashing. The samurai still carry their blades, still move with discipline carved into them from childhood. But the world around them? It's changing faster than steel can keep up. Gunfire replaces silence. Uniforms replace tradition. Power shifts, not earned through honor, but taken through force. And in the middle of it, there's a place that refuses to bend. Aizu domain. You can feel it the moment you step into it. Not fear, resolve. Because here, they're not preparing to surrender. They're preparing to stand, even if it costs everything. And in the middle of that preparation, there's a woman who should not be here. At least, not by the rules. Nakano Takeko. You don't notice her at first, not because she blends in, because she doesn't need to stand out. She's already where she needs to be. Training. You hear the rhythm before you see it. Wood striking wood. Breath controlled. Movement exact. No wasted motion. No hesitation. Because she wasn't taught halfway. She was trained to be precise. Deadly. You see it in the way she holds the naginata. Not like a weapon she's learning. Like something that belongs in her hands. Because while others are preparing for war, she's already ready. But here's the thing. This war? It wasn't meant to include her. Not like this. Women aren't supposed to stand on the front lines, not supposed to lead charges, not supposed to meet war head-on. But rules, they start to break when everything else does. And this world? It's breaking fast. You feel it in the tension building across Aizu, in the way every conversation ends with silence, in the way people look at each other like they already know what's coming. Because they do. The imperial forces are advancing, stronger, better equipped, and they're not coming to negotiate, they're coming to end this. And still, Aizu prepares to stand. Not because it makes sense, because it's who they are. And Nakano Takeko? She doesn't wait to be told where she belongs. She already knows. Not behind the lines, not watching from safety. At the front. Because when the moment comes, she won't hesitate. She won't step back. She won't become what the world expects her to be. She'll become something else, something the battlefield doesn't forget. Right before the fight begins, because next, she doesn't just enter the battle, she leads one of the last charges the samurai world will ever see. And when the moment finally comes, it doesn't arrive gently. It crashes. You hear it before you see it. Gunfire tearing through the air, boots moving where sandals once stood, orders shouted in voices that don't carry the same weight as tradition, but carry power anyway. Because the imperial forces aren't testing Aizu, they're ending it. The lines form fast, too fast. There's no time for ceremony now, no time for perfect formation, only time to choose, stand or fall. And Aizu stands. You see it in the way they hold their ground, outmatched, outgunned, but not broken. And in the middle of it, Nakano Takeko doesn't wait. Because waiting, that's not how this ends. You feel the shift the moment she moves, not hesitation, not doubt, decision. She gathers them, not the men already positioned, not the ones expected to fight, the women. Because if the world is breaking its rules, so will she. You see them come together around her, not unsure, not fragile, ready. Because this isn't about proving something, it's about doing what needs to be done. You can feel it in the way she stands at the front of them, not asking, leading, because there's no time left to wait for permission. And when she raises the naginata, everything tightens. The noise, the movement, the moment itself, because this is the line. And then she moves, not slowly, not carefully, forward. The charge doesn't look like anything the battlefield expects. Not hesitation, not defense. Impact. You see her cut through the front line with precision. Not wild, not uncontrolled. Exact. Every movement intentional. Every strike placed where it matters. Because she's not fighting to survive the moment. She's fighting to break it open. And for a second, it works. The imperial line shifts, breaks just enough to feel it. Because they didn't expect this, didn't expect her, didn't expect women charging straight into them and not stopping. You feel the energy surge, because courage, when it hits like that, it spreads. The women behind her push forward, not falling back, not slowing down, matching her. And the battlefield changes. Not permanently, not enough to turn the war, but enough to make something very clear. This isn't over quietly. And at the center of it, Nakano Takeko, moving like she was always meant to be here. Not outside the fight, inside it, shaping it. Even as the odds close in, even as the reality of the fight presses harder with every second, she doesn't step back. Because stepping back would mean something worse than loss. It would mean she never stepped forward at all. And that was never an option. So she keeps moving, through resistance, through impact, through a moment that's already becoming something bigger than just battle. Because this isn't just a charge, it's a statement that even at the end, even when everything is changing, there are still those who will stand exactly where they choose and fight exactly how they decide. Right in the middle of a charge the battlefield will never forget, because next, the cost comes fast, and the moment she created becomes something lasting. And when the cost comes, it doesn't wait. It hits, fast, sharp, unforgiving, because moments like this, they burn bright, but they don't last long. You feel it in the shift. That brief opening she created, it closes. The imperial line tightens again. Gunfire returns with precision. The weight of the battlefield crashes back in. And still, Nakano Takeko doesn't stop. Because stopping now would erase everything she just did. So she keeps moving forward, even as the space around her narrows, even as the numbers press in, even as the fight turns from momentum to survival. You can see it in the way she adjusts, still precise, still controlled, but now fighting through something heavier. Because this isn't just about breaking the line anymore, it's about holding ground for even one more second, one more breath. And then it happens. Not with warning, not with time to prepare, just impact, a shot, the kind that changes everything instantly. You feel it before you understand it, the break in movement, the shift in energy, the moment where something powerful stops. She's hit. And for a second, the battlefield doesn't slow, but it feels like it does, because the one leading the charge is no longer moving the same way. You see it in the way she holds herself, still upright, still present, but fading. And even then, she doesn't fall back. She doesn't retreat. She doesn't become anything less than what she was seconds before. Because this moment, it matters too much. You can feel the urgency around her now. Those closest to her seeing it, understanding it, not fear, recognition, because they know what this means. And she does too, that this isn't something she walks away from. So she makes a decision, not for herself, for what comes after. Because legacy, it isn't what happens while you're standing, it's what remains when you're gone. And she refuses to let that be taken from her. You see it in the final act, not dramatic, not drawn out, precise. She ensures her story doesn't end in a way the enemy can claim, that her presence, her leadership, her moment stays hers, even as everything fades. And then she's gone, not erased, not lost, but finished, on her terms. And the battlefield? It doesn't forget, Because what she did, it lingers. In the way the charge broke the line. In the way the unexpected became unstoppable. In the way a woman stepped into a moment she wasn't meant to have, and took it anyway. You feel it in what's left behind. Not silence, impact. Because even as the war moves forward, even as the world shifts away from everything she stood for, her moment doesn't disappear. It becomes something else, a story, one that refuses to fade quietly. Because some actions, they echo, and hers still does. So we leave her here, not at the end of her life, but at the height of what she chose to be. A woman who didn't wait for history to make space for her. She carved her way into it. If this story stayed with you, if you felt what it means to step forward, even when the outcome is already written, don't stop here. There are more women like her. Women who didn't just witness the end of an era, they defined it. Subscribe and come back for the next chapter. Next time, we step into a different kind of power, not survival, not resistance, but a woman who ruled from the center of it all and controlled the outcome before it ever began. Stay dangerous, stay loud, and never let them hold the pen.